You'll wish you'd seen this earlier. Jordan Peterson went on Piers Morgan's show to talk about many topics, but as the host brought up the topic of Olivia Wilde calling him a pseudo-intellectual hero to incels, Peterson got emotional and went on to explain the issues many young men face today, but get called derogatory terms in return, mind you. This show took place right after Peterson's wife had beaten cancer after struggling with it for 7 months.
The film director Olivia Wilde has a new movie out, which she says is based on you, this insane man, this pseudo-intellectual hero to the incel community. Incel being these weirdo loner men who are despicable in many ways. Is that you? Are you the intellectual hero to these people?
Sure. Why not? People have been after me for a long time because I've been speaking to disaffected young men. What a terrible thing to do that is. I thought the marginalized were supposed to have a voice.
It's making you emotional. Talk about that.
Well, God, it's very difficult to understand how demoralized people are. And certainly many young men are in that category. And you get these casual insults, these incels. What does it mean? It's like, well, these men, they don't know how to make themselves attractive to women who are very picky, and good for them. Women, be picky. That's your gift, man. Demand high standards from your men. Fair enough. But all these men who are alienated, it's like they're lonesome and they don't know what to do, and everyone piles abuse on them. But when Olivia Wilde made those comments, the first thing I did was go look at the preview for her movie, which I quite liked. I thought I would go see that movie probably, and perhaps I will. It didn't really bother me. My family and I talked about it right away, and we were able to respond to it with some degree of humor, which then people completely misunderstood. I said I hope that, that if I had to be played by someone, I think it's Chris Wilde, that he's a very good-looking man, and so that seems all right, And then I said something like, I hope he gets my fashion style choice right when he plays me. And it was a joke. All that was a joke.
You've been so controlled today, and yet in that brief moment, you got very emotional. Why?
It's really something to see constantly how many people are dying for lack of an encouraging word. And how easy it is to provide that if you're careful. Give credit where credit is due. And to say, you're a net force for good if you want to be. No one's perfect. So people make their mistakes as they stumble uphill.
That's as raw as it gets, as societal attitudes towards gender continue to evolve, which are mainly driven the woke left. Traditional notions of masculinity are being challenged, leading to a re-examination of the roles and expectations placed on young men. Evolving cultural attitudes towards masculinity have led to increased criticism of traditional masculine norms, such as success, dominance, and emotional detachment. Young men continue to feel marginalized by these changes, particularly as their experiences are basically being devalued or invalidated. Additionally, societal pressures to conform to traditional gender norms still exerts a powerful influence on young men, leading to an internalized feeling of inadequacy or shame if they do not meet societal expectation. Research indicates that young men confront a variety of challenges in contemporary society, ranging from societal pressures to tough it out and succeed to the erosion of tradition support networks. A similar analysis found that young men are not just more likely to experience loneliness, but that the loneliness they experience is more intense. One contributing factor to this is that most young men are more likely to be single than young women. A study on this matter found that more than 60% of men in their 20s are single, with the percentage dropping to 34% for women at the same age bracket. That's almost double the numbers. Online dating apps and hookup culture has further complicated the dating landscape for young men, While these apps offer young people unprecedented access to potential partners, they've also been associated with changes in dating behavior and attitudes. For example, the prevalence of casual relationships and hookups makes it more difficult for young men to establish meaningful connections with potential partners. Additionally, the abundance of choice in the online dating world leads to feelings of uncertainty and indecision among young men who may struggle to find compatible partners in a crowded and competitive dating market.
I knew when I was teaching at Harvard and at the University of Toronto that some of the things I was teaching were revolutionary. I was surprised that I got away with it, let's say, as long as I did. And so there's a way in which it doesn't surprise me. And I wouldn't say that's because of the brilliance of my ideas. It's because I'm good at communicating ideas, but the ideas that I've been developing, they're ancient ideas. They're the oldest ideas we have in some real sense. So they have a power.
Right, absolutely. You'll launch the Peterson Academy. Tell me about that quickly.
Yeah, well, I've been collecting, along with my daughter, great professors and educators from all around the world, and we're having them come to Miami to film 4 two-hour lectures on a variety of topics. President of Hillsdale College, Larry Arnn, just taped one for us on Churchill, which I thought was quite funny because, he's persona non grata. And so Arnn and Churchill, so that's quite funny. And we're hoping that we can determine how to provide people a very efficient and very low-cost alternative to a bachelor's degree. And we're working hard to make that accredited. I'd like to drive the cost of a bachelor's degree from its current $160,000 level to $4,000. And I think we can do it. So that's the plan. We're going to launch in either early 2023, depending on how quickly we can get things aggregated. And I'm working with my son on an app called Essay.app. We took a document I wrote for my students that helped them learn how to write and edit. And editing is very important if you're writing. People are never taught to edit. And it builds editing tools into the software. And we have 4,500 subscribers and 50,000 users. We launched about 2 months ago. I'd like to teach 1 million people to write.
And just finally, you're healthy, you look healthy.
Pretty good.
And
much better.
Your wife's doing a lot better than she was?
She's back better than she was before even. And my daughter's not ill either. So fancy that.
I mean, that's an amazing turnaround from where you were.
That's for sure, man. It was pretty brutal.
Yeah.
For a long time.
Yeah.
My wife almost died every day for 7 months. So.
I'm very glad for you.
Thank you, sir.
I really am. And it's been a fascinating interview.
That is like a breath of fresh air. When was the last time you heard someone say such a polite and sincere thank you? This is what's missing in the mainstream media nowadays. The absence of voices representing and guiding young men in the mainstream media is a major concern, and figures like Jordan Peterson have emerged as providing a sense of stability and direction for young men who may feel lost in a rapidly changing world. Their appeal lies in their ability to articulate views that resonate with a broad audience of young men who feel overlooked or marginalized by mainstream media. Their perspectives, while not radical, offer a refreshing departure from prevailing narratives and provide a sense of validation and empowerment for individuals grappling with issues related to identity, purpose, and belonging. The views they bring forward aren't revolutionary as well, it's just common sense as well as principles and values that were widely accepted and embraced a few days ago, but have become increasingly marginalized or dismissed in today's cultural climate. Their perspectives offer a counterbalance to woke leftist narratives and provide much needed guidance and support for young men going through the complexities of modern society. For example, you don't see issues related to men being broadcast on TV or even make it to your Facebook or Instagram feed. It's also crazy to me that the woke leftists in Hollywood go on to create narratives about women empowerment, but proceed to shoot insults at people with opposing views to them. Make no mistake, mainstream media played a huge role in reaching the stage where society is at today. For instance, this CNN article puts incels and men's rights activists in the same group, calling them a part of a bigger manosphere. I bet they wouldn't dare do that to feminist groups. This reflects a broader trend in media coverage of gender-related issues, where opposing and diverse perspectives are sensationalized for the sake of narrative convenience. This oversimplifies complex issues and spreads negative stereotypes.